Fun, flying, free, feeling Friday. Yeah, full power. So today I want to talk to you about how to recreate your habits because I think a big problem that people have with habits is that they've tried to quit them. And when you try to quit something that doesn't work because we've been taught not to quit. Quitters never win. And so it's in the words. It's really in the words. Instead of quitting it, you're letting it go. And I try not to demonize habits as good or bad. I make them healthy or unhealthy. Do they make me feel good in my body? Do they give me energy? Do they give me pure love? Do they give me bliss? Do they give me peace? Or does it put stress on my body and make me wingy? You know what I'm saying? So you really have to change your wording around it. And you can't quit habits, but you can recreate them into more healthy habits to give you a better, more healthy, harmonious life. And so you just have to take those habits that don't make you feel amazing when you do them because that's the whole point of a part of having a conscious mind is that when you do something like many, many years, geez, almost 30, smoking cigarettes. And every time I lit a cigarette, I knew in my mind, this isn't a good idea. Every time. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. And every time I was reminded, one of the things that I really didn't like about smoking was smoking around children. I couldn't be around children when I smoked because it didn't make me feel good. Because I didn't want children to see people smoking because that's how I felt that I started. Because my family all smoked. Everybody in my family smoked cigarettes. Everybody in my family drank. That was just our life. That was how we lived our lives. Everybody drank and smoked. And so it was normal. It was normal. And so that's just what I thought everybody did. And so, of course, I did too. I started smoking when I was 13, taking my mom's cigarettes. And I smoked until my last cigarette I had would be a decade ago. So 2014. And I started when I was 13. So it was a 30-year habit. And I quit a few times over the years. I quit for 18 months. I quit for 3.5 years. This is the first time I've ever quit. Well, not quit, but let it go. Because now I changed my wording around it. You can't quit things, but you can upgrade them. Habits are habits. You're always going to have your habits. Hola, buen dia, Emmy. Awoo. Your habits are your habits. You're going to have them, but you can always upgrade them. So what I did is I started smoking cigarettes that were made from flowers, and they weren't toxic and they were healthy for me. ¿Qué andes haciendo? San Mateo Reando. Au! And so these flower smokes, they tasted delicious. They didn't leave that disgusting um, taste in my mouth. They didn't make me have to wash my fingers because I was in the restaurant business my whole life. And so I always smoked and then go wash my hands and smoked and wash my hands because I know how much it stinked or I'd chew gum because my breath was always bad from having cigarettes. And it was like, and I hated it. Hello, Dylan. Au! Buenos dias. And so for me, it was embarrassing. The fact that I smoked was embarrassing, but I did it for so long and I did it. And when, like I said, it's only been 10 years since I quit. And so many people my whole life have never quit. They're still smoking. My mom, well, she's had to quit now, but she smoked for 70 years. 70 years. My dad died of throat cancer. It started in his throat and spread to his lungs. That was in 1992. So I speak Spanish, but I don't, but I know English. Oh, muy bien, Dylan. Hablas español un poquito, pero es no mi primero idioma. uh, eh, um, yeah, and so my dad asked me on his deathbed to quit smoking. He said, "Will you please quit smoking for me?" Because he was on his deathbed. He was dying. He had cancer that had spread from his throat to his lungs, and he was right terminal. And so I told him I would, and that was when I was 22. It took me until I was 44. It took me another 22 years after that promise to actually fulfill it for my dad, but I did. So it was a process of just staying with it. It's never because you have to love yourself. That's the only way that you can change something in your life is if you love yourself. If you love yourself so much that you want to be healthy. And it's not an egoic thing. Ego is edging God out, letting God go. Loving yourself is showing God that you are grateful and appreciative for having this human experience and you're here to have fun because I believe we're here to give God a good time. And God doesn't like addictions. God doesn't need addictions for anything. Sí, no más cigarros. Sí, 10 años no es no buena para el cuerpo. Yo fumar mota, sí, poco, todo bien, pero tabaco, yo jardinero es diferente tabaco en el gobierno. Es, no bueno, no bueno para el cuerpo. I'm gonna have to work on my Spanish because I do have a very large following of Spanish followers on my subscriptions, and I will be fluent eventually. It's a practica, and I live on the top of a mountain by myself, and my partner here, my girl, hi sweetie, that's Estrella, sin hablar. No, mi esposa no hablar, soy sin práctica para mí. Yo soy ermitaño and yo vivo simplemente. I live very simple. I'm a hermit, and less is more. So this video is because of my beautiful sister asked me to make it. She said, "How do you let go of it, or how do you change a habit?" And so what you do is you take the time of the day that you would normally do that habit that you don't like, and you do something that you do like. Woohoo! Way to go! Congratulations, Paul. Yeah, it's a process. To get clean is a lot of work. It's not an easy thing. You have to love yourself, and that's not easy to do because we've been conditioned that we're not good enough, not smart enough, not fast enough, not strong enough. And that's all bullshit. You're a divine spiritual being having a human experience. You are magic. You have so many superpowers in latent inside of you, but it has to be from a clean body. So you have to let go of all the stuff. I believe Lao Tzu said many, many, many years ago, sí, microdos, todo. Microdos sin problema por todo. Es más buena para el cuerpo. Microdos todo. Microdos comida. Es intermin, uh, dice uno intermente. Sí. Um, and so when you take that habit that doesn't make you feel good and you do something that's good. So what I did is I replaced cigarettes with running. I started running. I became athletic. I ran 2 half marathons, which are 21 kilometers. It's a long distance, and you cannot smoke cigarettes and run a long distance because your throat gets very dry, gets very sore, gets very irritated. And I was a distance runner when I was a kid, but as soon as I became a teenager, I started smoking, and we played and stuff. But I never had that passion and that power and that persistence to go that distance. And I can still do it today. I love running in the forest, especially barefoot. It's my favorite. But so that's what I did. Is when I wanted to have a cigarette, I'd go for a run. And if it wasn't nice out, because I ran outside, I still did a lot of running in inclement weather, but I would meditate or I would do yoga. I would replace the unhealthy habit with something that made me feel good and something that made me want to be happy. Because when I felt joyful, I didn't need that addiction stuff. I didn't need the cigarettes. But that cigarettes was such programming because I'd watched it for my whole life, and everywhere I worked. Well, here's an interesting way that I quit at one point in my life, is that I was working at a restaurant in South Calgary, and called Cheesecake Cafe, and we all smoked. Everybody smoked. All of the cooks, all the waiters, all the dishwashers, all the busboys, the hostesses. Everybody smoked. Everybody smoked. We opened a new store that was up beside the university, Cheesecake Northwest. And I transferred and I went up to the different store. And when I went there, nobody smoked. They were all students. Everybody there was students. Nobody smoked. And so it was like 100% flip. Went from everybody smoked to nobody smoked. And so when you weren't around people smoking all the time, it became super simple not to do it. And it became embarrassing to do it because you were doing it by yourself. We used to use cigarettes in the industry as a way to take a break because if you could go and have a smoke and nobody would question what you were doing. But if you were just standing outside with other people while they were smoking, people would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm having a break. You can't have a break. That's not how it works. If you want a cigarette, you can have a cigarette, but you can't have a break. You get back to work. There's stuff to do in there. So it was also a way of getting out of work, was having cigarettes. And that was another thing too, is that you could give cigarettes to people and they would do things for you. So this cigarettes were a horrible commodity, and I used them for so many years of my life. And now it's been 10 years, and my lungs feel great. My body feels amazing. Uh, I never will ever go back because I'm past that. But what I had to do is I had to love myself enough not to want to do these things. And I've had many bad habits. I was an alcoholic for 20 years, from 16 to 36. I was drunk just about every day. But that's because my life was surrounded with, I lived in and worked in the bar and restaurant industry for 20 years. And everybody did that. That's we all did. We all drank and we all smoked. And then as I got older, we got into drugs. We got into more different drugs, harder drugs. And so then I started doing cocaine. And that was 30 years old. So it was not a good decision. I waited a long time before I started it, but again, I made it to 35. I was almost dead. I had no job. I had no friends. I had no money. I had no home. Um, my health was just atrocious, and I was fully suicidal. And somehow, 20 years later, I'm still here. And I'm the happiest and healthiest I've been in my entire life at almost 55 years old. Thank you, God, because I survived. I survived myself. I survived all of the things that I didn't like about myself. And I came out the other side to realize that I was a beautiful, wonderful, magical being having a human experience. And this experience is to teach us how to love ourselves. That's what we're here for, 100%, to learn how to love yourself. Because if you don't, this is my acronym, FLY. First, love yourself. This is how we fly. You need to do that in order to let go of things that are not serving your highest good. When you're in alignment with your highest good and you feel good about yourself, and the world just responds magically. You get so much goodness back out of the world because of the goodness that you're evoking into the world. And the world is a mirror. So the mirror will give you back all of the good things that you're after. So I hope that kind of explains a little bit on how to recreate a habit, because quitting again is not something that we can do. It's not something we're conditioned for. We try and try and try and try and try and try and try. Like, remember when you were a kid and you were learning how to walk? Did you just say, "Nah, it's it. I give up. I'm done"? No, no. You kept going until and bruising yourself and falling over and yanking on things until you did it. And now you can do it. And now it's part of your subconscious programming because you've learned it. And so you don't have to think about walking every time you walk. Your body knows how to do it. It knows exactly what to do. And it knows exactly what incline you're on. It knows everything because you've trained it by doing so much walking. And your subconscious mind takes over when you're in that state. You can reprogram your subconscious, but you have to be aware of the programs that are playing in your head, because a lot of them are old conditioning. And that's how we learn things, is through conditioning. uh, when you were a kid, you didn't have addictions. You just had love and joy and hope and expectations, and that was life. Every day was fun, and then as we get older, we get conditioned and we get told that we're not good enough and smart enough and strong enough and all of this. And so we start developing these habits, these bad habits. Well, not bad habits, just habits that aren't unhealthy habits. So you don't label things as good or bad, just label them as healthier and unhealthy, because we like to do things that are bad sometimes. But healthy and unhealthy has a different feel to it, has a different sound, it's a different vibration. Because if it's healthy, it makes you feel good. If it's unhealthy, then you don't feel good. And everybody here wants to be energized. That's what we're for. We came here to experience full power energy. And there's so much that we can cultivate in our bodies through the practices of meditation and yoga and fasting. We energize our body and we let go of things that we no longer need. It's not it's magic. Everything that happens here is magic. Absolutely everything. All right, well, we're gonna get on with the day and start getting some gardening on the move. Got some soil to make today and some replanting to do today. I'm planting popcorn seeds. That's right. I'm gonna grow my own popcorn. Ah, woo! So excited. Again, if you like what I'm doing, please like this video. Sharing is caring, and I love comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm here to be of service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have an amazing weekend. We'll see you Monday. Ah, woo!